shoot, dude. Have we not done this one yet? That's crazy. Welcome to Monster Families Ranked. Today we're talking about the vampires. Have we even done a 4-star family before? 4.5-star family before? I can't be bothered to check because my computer's over there. Before we get into it, they all have the same first skill. I don't know, dude. They all throw bats. It's a little on the nose, but it is what it is. Except for Cadiz. He throws better bats than everyone else. They're just better. They're better bats. They strip. There are two options for second skills, either Noble Agreement or Weaken. Noble Agreement hits twice, has a higher crit rate, and in some circumstances, has a chance to stun. Only one circumstance has a chance to stun. And then Weaken tries to apply Attack Break, Slow, and Buff Block. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and meet our players. First of all, we're starting with Fire. It's Verd, the Fire Vampire. Verd's got the throwing bats and the Noble Agreement, but his passive is what makes him really shine. If you've played Summoner's War for more than 24 hours, you're very familiar with this guy. Every time he crits, he boosts his whole team's attack bar by 20%, and he hits twice on both skills now, so that's 40% attack bar. He also has an incredibly relevant leader skill of a 28% speed lead in dungeons. He's an incredibly important monster, and that's probably, it might come through in the rankings. Who knows? Let's just keep going. Liesel is the water one. Liesel actually does a lot on his skill 3. It always crits on fire, it reduces attack bar, it defense breaks, it does more damage the closer they are to getting knocked out. That's 4 things. And it's AoE. If you count that, it's 5 things. That's a lot of things. Argon is the wind vampire, and he's actually gotten some use in Steel Fortress because he has buff block on his second and third skills, and he has debuff scaling damage on his skill 3 that also tries really hard to apply branding. Next up is Julian the light vampire, who is honestly so good right now. He cleanses himself at the start of his turn like Juno, and plus he has like this reverse Huadam thing wherever he would die, he instead siphons HP from his remaining allies and doesn't die. He lives. It's alive! Then his skill 2 does crazy damage and has a chance to stun. This is that one scenario that I foreshadowed earlier for Noble Agreement where it does have a chance to stun. Lastly in the lineup, it's Cadiz. Do you like Cadiz?
No! God, please, no!
Do you like Cadiz?
No!
Cadiz is the only one who can strip on skill 1. Plus, every attack applies branding and absorbs the target's attack bar. Cadiz also does this weird thing where he kind of does the best impression available of what absorbing attack bar used to be. We're now in a state of the game where absorbing attack bar only absorbs as much attack bar as they have to lose. But Cadiz has this nice little clause at the end where if the target's attack bar is all the way decreased, he'll gain 20%. He'll just create 20% out of nowhere. I love this theming for a vampire as well because you're siphoning both their life and their attack bar. That's thematic. Let's get on with the rankings. In last place, it's Liesel, and it's not that far off. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you put him at 4, but I would blame you if you put him at 3 or higher. The rest are really good. Next is Argon. Argon manages to squeeze past because he has extremely relevant debuffs in buff block and branding. So he can be used in Steel Fortress, raids, etc. Then we have Cadiz, and we do really like Cadiz. I should remind you that the remaining vampires are just incredibly good, so like now that that's out of the way, let's talk about it. Cadiz is a super solid damage option in RTA and anywhere where you need strip, branding, and attack bar reduction. That just sounds amazing. You could probably use that anywhere. He has a tendency to be a little bit divisive, but he's made a name for himself in RTA. So he also works really well with dark speed leads. So if you happen to have like a Han as well, that's great. That's great for you. I'm so happy you have Han. I wish that could be me. Here's where I'd put my Han, if I had one. Number 2, it's Julian the Light Vampire. Julian is insane right now, and I love what he brings to the table in RTA. What he brings is really, really high damage, but also he makes your opponent approach your team differently than they normally would. Even though the threat assessment is telling them Julian is the danger, you can't always just go straight for Julian. Not unless you have some sort of Oblivion situation. Sorry. It's like you mixed Juno with crazy damage. That's hype as heck. What a great elevator pitch for a monster. And literally the only option left available, Verd, number 1. Name me one place where Verd's not good, besides the Water Rift, and Giants, and the water slime. Something that's not water. Basically, so what I'm trying to say, he's just the best. PvE, RTA, guilds, he's your man. He's your vampire, your manpire. He's him, dude. Verd is the GOAT. Verd is accessible, reliable, and has an incredibly relevant leader skill of 28% speed lead in dungeons. You can rune him on Swift and RTA to outspeed. You can rune him on Triple Revenge and somehow double crit on water. The dude is, like, unbeaten. That's why number 1 is Verd. It always has been. Since day 1, baby. It's been Verd the whole time. All right, later.